Hello and welcome to Fit News. I am your host, Jen Shaver, and joining me today is Liz Filippone. Liz is a certified personal trainer and also a corrective exercise specialist who helps her clients feel better and move more through pain-free movement coaching and small group classes so that they can build more confidence and achieve their health goals. Liz knows that movement is medicine. And we share that, right? And we have that a common goal, getting people moving.
Yes,
Yeah.
I find movement is extremely important. It's been a big part of my life and just helping me process things, get through things, helping me be more creative with whatever it is I'm doing, just to work the brain differently, to focus
Mhm.
differently.
Yeah.
I find it does work different parts of our brain. And yeah, with the past few years, there's been a lot of, no movement, like
Right.
not much
Right.
movement going on.
Mhm.
And now people are starting to do that a little bit more. In fact, I just got back from a walk with two of my clients that I train at home, and I already felt the difference
Yeah.
from being outside, but just walking, moving my body, even if it's not like a rigorous hit class or,
Right. Yeah.
hour long thing, that we sometimes put on ourselves,
Yeah. And
which
I
can
think
create
that's
more
just it.
stress.
Right. And I think you just really said something that's so important. And that is that number one, our movement does not have to be um, pedal to the metal every time in order for it to benefit us. It doesn't have to be this hour-long thing in order to benefit us. And those are two very important points that I think are often overlooked, along with the fact that you mentioned, you know, you become more creative. And I have found that if you've ever been working on something and then you're stuck on something and you get up and you move around, that the brain starts going. Some of my best ideas, well, I don't know that many people think they're my best ideas, but some of my greatest ideas come
Yeah,
when I am out on a run or when I am in the gym.
exactly.
And I will think of it and I will stop if I'm in the gym and write it down, or if I'm on my run, well, I just hope I remember it by the time I get home. But
Right.
but I find that that's just it. It's when we are moving our body that brain can really focus and start to really think a lot better than when we're stuck at a desk, right? And on our computer.
Yeah, and to keep going with that, with the, being stuck at a desk, not
Mhm.
moving, because
Yeah,
my clients that I work with sit at a desk.
right.
And I ask them, like, did you get up today? Because, oh, my hips are bothering me, or,
Mhm.
my neck hurts.
Yeah,
You know, and I'm like, well, did you get up today? I'm like, not a lot, and usually the answer is not a lot.
yeah,
Just sat there because I needed to get through this task. Oh, I totally get it. I do. I totally get that we have deadlines and we need to get through things. But once you get that task done, is it, are you going to lose a lot of work time if you just step out and maybe take 5 minutes
right.
to either walk around your building, go up and down the stairs, go outside if you can, or maybe if you can't leave your building, going to I used to do this when I worked in an office. I would
Yeah,
go into a conference room that wasn't being used, close my eyes, and just breathe. Just take deep breaths, nothing fancy at
right.
all. I would set a timer,
Yeah, which we
you
all have,
know,
right? So
and
it's
just
just like,
go
yeah.
in and out, in and out. And sometimes that would lead into some stretching,
Hmm.
and that would just clear my head out
Right, right.
tremendously, because I feel we are either in a fight or flight mode, you
Always.
know, or just that day to day worry, and I've been there too. It's,
Hmm.
somebody who's been treated for anxiety, which I
Hmm.
have. Yeah, it's like I know those motors start going and it makes up all sorts of different stories that all
Hmm.
of a sudden you're like, wait, is that really happening here?
Yeah,
Is that really happening? Or I'm just is that going to really happen? You know, the
Right.
stories that we make up for like, oh, if I don't do that now,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be whatever, X, Y, and Z,
Right. Right.
and it's a hard practice to, I mean, it's a practice for sure.
Right. And the
And
more you do it, obviously, like anything, right? The more you practice it, the better you get. Yeah.
yeah, and taking more pauses,
Hmm.
and it's May right now as we're
Yeah.
talking. It's the month of May and it's Mental Health Awareness Month, which is, it's, I see that everywhere right
Yeah.
now, everywhere. And it's like, what does that mean to you? Like, what does that mean to people when they're like mental health awareness? Like, there's definitely something going on in the world if they're
Right.
naming a month, and
Right.
just all the things that they name months after. But
Right.
that one
Which really,
especially,
that one I think deserves every month, right? It deserves every day, right?
yes.
Mental health awareness throughout my day, every day, not
Yeah.
just the month of May. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you doing for your mental health every day?
Hmm.
And I mean, whether it's, again, taking a walk, taking that quiet time, taking some breathing breaks, talking to a therapist.
Hmm.
I've
Right.
done that myself for years, and oh my God, what a game changer.
Right.
Once you,
Well, yeah. And now you don't have to, if your thing is, well, I just don't have time to go to the office. Hey, look at this wonderful world of Zoom, right? You and I aren't in the same state.
yeah, and I did the same thing
So,
with my
yeah.
therapist when all of a sudden it was like they were back and forth with in person, virtual. Oh,
Right.
we're going to meet on Zoom today.
Right.
You didn't
Right.
do that in the past. And it's like I didn't
Yeah.
have to drive anywhere. It's like, so there's no stress about leaving to go in the car to get somewhere.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it does take that stress out of it.
Right.
But just even just talking to people too, I
Mhm.
feel like we're hungry for socialization, more
Right.
socialization again.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Um,
social connection is important.
yeah. Um, and I was reading some data actually about this, and it's just from the around 1 million Americans miss work each day because of stress.
Wow. Oh, wow.
That was from the American Institute of Stress. There's
That,
actually a website
that's a
and
high
that
number.
studies stress. And I'm like, and that could be so many different levels of stress, like whether that's
Yeah.
acute, traumatic stress, which can have tons of residual effects, but also just that chronic everyday worry.
Yeah.
And you're not doing anything to manage it.
Right.
And those are the questions I ask people. I go, well, how are you managing your stress? Because,
Yeah.
I have to do this for myself. And some people are doing things, whether it's movement, I exercise. Awesome.
Right.
You know, and some people, oh yeah, I journal. Awesome. I talk to some, great. But, and then there's some people who don't even know when I ask that question, like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm so busy. And I'm like, I know, so am I.
Right.
But if I want to keep doing all these things I love to do and spend time with my children, I have a daughter and she's getting older. She's 8 years old and
Hmm.
she's getting busier. I still have to make time for those blocks of time for myself, even
Right.
if it is just, I'm going to go stand in that corner over there and just be.
Right. 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 And again, it's finding time throughout your day where you can work it in if it seems like it's something that's going to be overwhelming, right? And it doesn't have to be, as we mentioned earlier
Yeah,
when we started, it doesn't have to be a whole hour. It can be something as simple as you mentioned, going into another room and taking a few deep breaths, right?
yeah,
I think we've overcomplicated wellness overall as a whole because we think, well, we got to check this box, this box, this box, all these boxes, but really we just need to find ways to fit it in to what we're already doing.
it's like, where did that come from? That
Yeah.
I have to check off all these boxes,
Mhm.
like,
Right.
and I've had conversations with people about this and then just heard it on different podcasts about like, yeah, like the world was different when our parents and our grandparents, right? We actually sat down and ate dinner
Hmm.
together,
Right.
talked about our day. We didn't have these, things that
Right.
distract us and ding, ding, ding. That was it. You sat at the table from like 6 to whatever, 6:30,
Right.
and this was our time together where a lot of that has gone away. I mean, I'm not saying completely gone away, but it's maybe not as consistent as it was
Hmm.
because of this digital world now that we're living in. And I see it with my daughter too. I'm like, no, you're going to sit there and you're just going to eat your food. You don't need to
Right.
watch anything.
Right.
You really need to watch that show right now.
Right.
But the other thing is that I feel like after this, we're coming out of this post pandemic, is I feel a lot of us are just struggling to find that our way again.
Right.
And we don't know where to look, what to do, what to focus on.
Hmm.
And one of the things I tell people, if you're trying to reduce stress, is write a column of what I can control, what I can't control,
Hmm.
and write down everything that you can control in your life. And then write down what you can't control. So, like, an example would be I can control my emotions, I
Hmm.
can control what I focus on, like the news. I have to say that.
Yeah.
When my clients say, "Oh yeah, I didn't sleep good last night because I was watching the news right before bed," and I'm like,
No.
"No,
No. Turn
what are
that
you
off.
doing?" And they're like, I knew that was going to be a bad idea."
Yeah.
But when people do that, it does
Mhm.
give them some sort of like, "Oh, okay."
Right. Right. It kind of, when you can actually see it, right, it makes it a little more real.
Yeah, and if I'm going to cut down on watching the news, then I'll
Mhm.
have more time to meditate. I'll
Right.
have more time to maybe move a little bit more or get
Hmm.
that meditation in because I want more of a meditation practice.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So important to take inventory, if you will, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. What are some other stress relieving tips that you have that you often give to your clients?
Um, well, there's definitely that list, right? The
Hmm.
what I can control, what I can't control. I love that one. I do that one
Hmm.
myself when I have just an overwhelming day or things are just triggering me left and right.
Right.
I love to do that one.
Hmm.
I love to do a certain breathing technique. It's from yoga, um, where you breathe in through the left, out through the right, and then
Oh,
in through the right nostril, and then out through the left. And there's a
okay.
certain like hand positioning that you do
Hmm.
for that.
Okay.
And what that does is, I think because of the way your hands are positioned on your face, that's all you're like focusing on,
Focus. Okay.
you know?
Hmm.
That is such a great way to just the alternating nostril breathing helps bring your nervous system down to that parasympathetic state that it brings in that relaxation response, which is not usually on
Right.
that much these days. We're usually in the sympathetic.
Hmm.
We're just constantly stimulated. No wonder we can't sleep.
Right.
Um, so there's that. And I have to say, finding movement that you enjoy.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
There are some fine. You don't like doing hit workouts? Don't do hit workouts.
Right. Right.
You don't like to do Zumba or dancey things? Then don't do those.
Right. Right. I know
You
there's so
know?
much, I feel like, you'll read this whatever at the grocery store on the front of the magazine. You
Yeah,
should be
yeah.
doing this. And then everybody thinks, oh, I have to be doing that. And they'll start to do it. And then they fall off the wagon because they didn't enjoy it. And then they think that they failed. Well, they didn't fail. It was just that's not what's for them.
That's exactly. Not that saying that strength training isn't important or
Right.
any of
And that's
that.
just it. Right.
You need to find something that works for you
Hmm.
and that, whether that's in a class setting or
Hmm.
one-on-one, or even if you just, going with a friend to the gym or a class, sometimes that's helpful too.
Right.
But yeah, finding something that you enjoy
Hmm.
in terms of movement. Um, I mean, I've been teaching yoga since 2006 and it's evolved
Yeah.
I've evolved too, where I blend other stretching modalities into it.
Hmm.
But it's amazing to hear what people think about yoga
Right. Yeah.
and that I have to be flexible. No, yoga is actually going to help you become more flexible, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally. It's going to
Hmm.
help you manage
Right.
just how you respond to the world
Yeah.
and to things happening around you.
Yeah.
Um, so finding movement that really helps, that makes you feel good,
Yeah. Yeah.
makes you just feel good. Because when you exercise, those happy chemicals, those
Right.
endorphins. I think that's what makes us go back. At least that's what makes me go back for more
Right.
exercise. Is sometimes I want to do that hit workout because I'm gonna feel amazing afterwards. I'm gonna feel
Yeah.
so energetic and I'm gonna feel so good.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's definitely, like you said, finding what works for you, because that really is the key to consistency. Because if we don't
Oh
like it, right, then now we've got an excuse to skip it. But you're not going to skip something that you enjoy. So finding whatever it is, you know, rock climbing, whatever,
yeah,
whatever that
yeah,
movement is, go and do that. And then always, of course, you're going to have to add in strength training. We know that. I mean,
right.
even if it's not your favorite, but knowing that you still have that activity that you enjoy
Yep.
to do the next day and the next day and the next day.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's like
Exactly.
nobody likes to do laundry and put it away, but guess what? We still do it. So
Right. We still
there
have
are,
to shower. We still have to
right,
brush our teeth.
right. There's still things in life that we don't enjoy, but we still do them. So, if strength training isn't your favorite, we get that, right? But it is important because we know that as midlife women, we're losing that muscle
Yes.
and we have to
Yes.
maintain it. Otherwise, we run into a host of problems as we age. But again, you still have your other activity that you enjoy, right?
Right. And depending on those activities too, are you doing things to help you do those activities? Because you brought up rock climbing. I had
Yeah.
clients who I worked with a couple clients, they're a couple, and they love to hike and they love
Hmm.
to do all those outdoor like things together. But they
Right.
were finding that whether it was they were getting injured, um, different parts of their body was just like acting up during
Hmm.
certain activity where we looked at that like their way of moving and then finally and they were still hiking throughout the sessions and then when they started doing indoor rock climbing because this was in the winter time they were like, oh my god, all that core work we've been doing, I think it's been helping.
Yeah.
Just those
Right.
little things where I'm like,
Right.
exactly.
Because they prepared their body to do the activities that they love. Yeah. Yeah. That's,
Right. And we've been doing the core work, we've been doing the
hmm,
body weight strength work because I know these are the things you like to do. And
right.
they're in their, I'm going to say 40s, maybe, high 40s, maybe, I would say that they're in their 40s, but
Yeah.
still, it's like, I'm like, you guys probably want to do this for as long as you can, right?
Right. Yep.
They're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, then you need to do these things.
Yep.
And like we said at the beginning of this, it doesn't have to be a straight hour a day.
Right.
If you only get like 10 minutes of foam rolling, stretching, some of the core moves, great, because a
Right.
little goes a long way and it's going to
Yeah.
help you when you go on that trail or you actually go climb a mountain. you
Right.
know,
Right. Right. Yeah. It's just preparing your body to do the activities and the everyday activities too.
things that make you happy, right?
Yeah.
Coming back to that, like
Yep.
when I would see it, they would just light up when they talk about, "Oh, I just love hiking. I love
Hmm.
being outdoors." And I'm like, yeah, and you can hit some tough terrain, can't
Hmm.
you? How
Yeah.
do you maneuver that? Especially as you get older or,
Hmm. Right. And I think that right there is a great question for each person to ask themselves, right? What do I enjoy right now?
uh,
What do I want to continue to do? And then how do I set myself up to do that as I age?
absolutely. Oh, those are great. Oh, those are great.
So,
Yes.
now's time to think about those things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and it's never too late. A lot of people, well, I'm in my 60s. So?
Yeah. So what? I work with that population, and
Hmm.
I weave balance work in all the time because the majority of that population, 60
Yeah.
and above, they've either fallen or they're
Hmm.
afraid to fall.
Right.
Or they just want to get up off the floor after playing with their grandchildren.
Hmm.
And it can
Yeah.
be that. It doesn't have to be rock climbing or a triathlon or a marathon or a three. It could be just, I want to get up and down off the floor easily,
Right. Right.
because it makes me so happy that I can get on the floor and play Legos or whatever it is with my grandkids.
Right. Right. And while that might seem easy when you're 40 or 50, as we age, it's not going to be as easy. And if you don't do something about it, then it's going to be a problem. But if you think about it ahead of time and prepare your body,
Little
because
bit
just
at a
because you
time.
can do it now doesn't mean that you can always do it, right?
I know. And you just think about like how we thought when we were in our 20s, we were like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to be 45 next month. And I'm already feeling stuff that,
Right.
like, even my yoga practice has changed because my body's changed over the
Right.
years. I
Right.
have to warm up longer now.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
My warm ups are so much longer. And that's okay, though. I'm okay with it. But I
Right.
want other people to know that, look, it's okay.
Right. Right.
Like, we're aging, it's just part of life, but you can still you're just going to have to do some self care things.
Right. Right. And that's just it. It doesn't mean that life comes to a complete stop, right?
Yes.
And that doing the things that you enjoy comes to a complete stop.
Mm.
It just means that you might have to do them a little differently. You might have to do them a little slower. You might, like you said, have to do a little longer warm up or whatever it is. But if you have taken the time to prepare your body in advance for those things, you still get to do those activities that you enjoy. And how great is that?
I know. And I have to just share one more story regarding
Hmm.
that. So I started dancing again because I have a dance background,
Oh,
and I'm so excited because after I started taking dance classes, contemporary, like modern ballet, all that, the dance teacher asked me to perform in a piece that,
oh,
yeah, I know, I'm super excited
wow,
for
that's
that, right?
exciting.
Yeah, and it's like one piece, he's like, it's just one piece, it's barefoot, you don't have to wear fancy shoes, because I was like, I don't do point. I'm sorry, I don't do point. But it's only one piece, and there's other pieces in this production. Well, one of the women that I know, I met her before the pandemic, and everything's like pre.
Yeah, that's how our
Um,
life is now, right?
she's retired. I have to say, she's in her 60s.
Yeah.
When I met her, we were doing tap dancing with this teacher. And she's retired, and she's just like, yeah, I want to do this. I never had time to do this.
Love it.
And and then of course
Hmm.
stopped doing tap classes, and then reconnected. She's still dancing with this teacher. She
Wow.
does point. She is in a duet performance with him.
Wow.
Who is, the teacher who's a professional dancer,
Right.
he
Yeah.
danced in companies, he's done choreography. And I'm just like, like and he said in rehearsal last night, he goes, everybody watch Judy right now. I want you to look at what Judy's doing. And she's like well into her 60s, but you know
Yeah.
what? She has that mindset of like, I want to do this.
Yep.
I'm going to do it. And she does Pilates.
Yeah.
She does foam rolling. She's doing things to help her body
Yep.
so that she can keep this up.
I love it. See,
So
that's what
that
it's
just like
all it.
inspires
Yes.
me because I went into this going, oh my God, I haven't done this in so long. I'm going to make a fool out of myself. And then I see her
Right.
like doing her, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm good. I
That
should just shut up right now.
that is great. To be like Judy, right? I mean, that's really
I
the motto
know.
that we
Like,
all need to have. I want to
I
be
want to
like
be
Judy.
like her
Yep.
when I grow up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We really should all aspire to that, whether it doesn't have to be dance, but whatever it is that you enjoy, right? We
Yeah, like
should
it's not
aspire
too
to,
late. It's not
right.
too late to start.
Yep.
And,
Yeah.
I know we have different kind of stress in our life. I know it's heavy.
Hmm.
It's different for everybody.
Yeah.
I get it. But if we can just do those little things like that make us happy,
Yep.
whether it's like a walk, just a simple walk, or now that it's getting warm out, maybe I'm going to go for a bike ride or
Yeah.
something.
Yep. Something to bring some joy into our lives, right?
Exactly. Uh,
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Liz. Where
Thanks
can
for
our
having me.
listeners find you if they want to
Yeah,
follow along with
so
your journey?
yeah, that's awesome. So I'm currently building my website. I'm excited about that. So I don't have like it done yet.
Mhm.
But you can find me on Facebook. I have a Facebook page. My business name is the Mindfully Fit Ninja.
Okay.
And I'm also on LinkedIn and Instagram. And
Okay.
that's just my handle's pretty easy. It's at Liz Filippone.
Okay. Super. Well,
And you can always message me through right there. If you ever want to contact me with questions, I have my schedule on there as well. I do on demand as well as in person. So no excuses there.
that's right. Love it.
Just kind of see what I'm doing. So
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Liz. We appreciate all you shared today.
yeah, thank you for having me. This was fun. It's
Yeah.
great.
Thank you for listening to Fit News, and we will catch you next time.